be careful. And I felt he wouldn't have said that to me unless Harry was really in a very anxious, difficult mood. She demanded to leave and said otherwise she would kill herself.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are making these claims that Diana is somehow the reincarnation of Princess Diana, that they are similar spirits, that Diana is guiding Meghan and Harry through their new life in Montecito. Is that really true?
Of course not. It's nonsense, but you can actually pretend it. You can create it, can't you? It's very interesting because the whole thing of how Meghan met Harry and have gone through their life are things that she has tried to keep Diana right up there in the front line. So I think that he would keep him under her thumb. I don't see any other reason to do that. I mean, initially, when he first met her, she was wearing lots of Diana's favorite perfume, which made him feel, "Oh, she's the one." Um, he was very easily taken on. Now, it could have been just a very unusual coincidence there, but she's a very cunning woman and she's a clever woman in that sort of area. So I'm sure she did that to encourage him to fall flat for her. Then at the engagement, when there was this BBC interview, which she complained about afterwards hugely because she wasn't allowed to take over. She had to just answer the questions she was given. But she said, Harry said, that if my mother knew, my mother would be jumping up and down, and she and Meghan would be the closest of friends. Now, that's not true. She wouldn't have liked that because she cared very much about the monarchy. But anyway, that's what she said. And Meghan took his hand and said, she's with us now. Okay, now this is all spooky, but it goes on. And then after some time, she went to, no, it was after 20 years his mother had died. They went to Diana's resting home, and she kneeled on the ground and said she asked for her to give her clarity and guidance. And Meghan believes that Diana is with them every single day. I mean, he said that to everybody. He doesn't make any sort of, no concern about saying that. Like he said before, that she would be very pleased that he was going to live in America. It's all what he needs somehow to stay alive, that his mother is still there. And it stopped him, I think, from doing lots of things because he's only doing things that he thinks his mother wants. And actually, after such a long time, he can love her to pieces, forever, but she needs to move forward and he doesn't want to. And I think that this is a way that Meghan holds him back, keeps him there, can easily say anything about, oh, but, I'm sure your mother told me today, dot, 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 dot. And I think that the way that she began with that has made him feel that she is Diana number two. But where is she? She's not compassionate. She's not like Diana was. Excuse me. And she's nothing like her at all. Diana was very young and she'd had a very hard childhood, so she had issues, but she was a very beautiful, wonderful girl, and Meghan is not that by far.
See, Angela, everything you've just described to me sounds very manipulating.
Yeah.
And that's quite toxic when you're dealing with someone's grief. Because even in Spare, Harry seems very sucked in and manipulated by so many of the lies that Meghan told. So, for example, we're meant to believe that Meghan had never heard of Prince Andrew, that Meghan had no idea about any aspects of the royal family.
How
When
to
in
curtsy.
Yeah, she didn't know how to curtsy, when in fact she had visited Buckingham Palace as a child. Biographies of Meghan's early life reveal that she was acutely aware of the death of Princess Diana, and I'm a very similar age to Meghan. And believe me, anyone who was a teenager when Princess Diana died was incredibly touched and inspired by that event.
Yes, and I think you're right, but I think it could have been a wide range of people who were inspired by her. You know, the way she went to visit people in hospitals and look after them and be brave and do all those things. And for, you know, children in Africa, but people would come to her so much. They'd love her. And now if you watch small children, often, I'm not saying always, but when Meghan wants to go for them to have a picture, they won't. They push her away. They don't want her. And I always think that small children have a very, very strong sense of who's good for them and who isn't. I mean, they can never get enough of Catherine. But often with Meghan, they push her away. And often Meghan just goes to have a picture taken there because that will look good. She doesn't even speak to the child. And I think she hasn't got that je ne sais quoi, which Diana had, and which most of us can admire
Oh, I
hugely.
mean, she didn't at all. Let's be honest about it. She didn't at all. And there's a fundamental difference with Diana, which is that Diana grew up with us. She was a young virgin
Aha.
when she became famous. We saw her vulnerabilities. We saw the end of her marriage. And with Meghan, this is a ambitious, much older, divorced Hollywood actress who wanted to be internationally famous without having to do much work. But Andrew, I just want to show you what Andrew Morton, Diana's biographer, who of course wrote her true story, revealed about Meghan when he was researching her book. He says Meghan, when she was a teenager, was captivated by Diana. She had my book, Diana, Her True Story, on her shelves. They watched the funeral. She and her friends were saddened by it and very moved by it. I think they did some charity collections afterward, took toys and things like that to the charity store. Well, Angela, that's all fine, but that means that she trapped Prince Harry into a lie because he so naively bought into her absolute bullcrap that she knew nothing about the royal family, that she was completely naive, which, look, unfortunately, I do think she manipulated Harry from a very early stage. At the same time, I think he was very naive to believe what was obviously mistruths.
Yeah, but he was desperate to get married. He said to me that he was fed up with being the third one. You know, it would be William, Catherine, and him. And at times he felt, you know, he's the sort of gooseberry that hangs on. And I completely understood that because, you know, he was getting on. And it is difficult when your brother is settling down and having the first child, and it's very difficult. Um, but I think that he very much wanted to marry, and it was very difficult to get the right woman because a lot of them didn't want to be in the spotlight. Couldn't think of anything worse. And so it was difficult. But here you have an actress of sorts who was used to it and would love and could cope with people taking pictures of you. It's difficult, and it's not easy to be within the monarchy either, because you have to go through with certain rules and behave in a certain way. I mean, Catherine has done this miraculously, really, and it was going to be hard for Meghan because she came from a different country. She would have no idea how it works, but you never thought she tried anything really. She didn't like anything that wasn't done her way, and she wanted to pull Harry with her in the same way that she does now. And she did, you know, he has to do whatever she wants to do. Um,
Mm.
he has to do what she wants to do, and that's it. He was
Yeah.
very scared she might go away. She was very scared. I remember when I went to visit him at the palace, the one of the aides said to me, "Be very careful because he's in a very nervous way in case she's going to leave him." This was before they announced any engagement. Just, take it easy, be careful. And that I felt he wouldn't have said that to me unless Harry was really in a very anxious, difficult mood. Was he good enough for her, really? I think a lot of that was.
But Angela, again, that is, I mean, fascinating insight, by the way, and this is why you're the best, because of course you are the biographer of Harry. You spent all of that time with him, so you know the man personally. But what I would say is, again, that was incredibly manipulative. I mean, with everything we know about Meghan Markle now, as if she was ever going to leave because of the media attention. This is a woman who had been booking paparazzi photographers to follow her around London for months
Yeah.
beforehand. This was a woman who had tried to set up dates with Ashley Cole, the England footballer who used to be married to Cheryl, the singer, Matt Cardle, who had won the X Factor, and Max George, who was a member of the boy band The Wanted. Actually, really nice guys, but nowhere near the level of fame of Prince Harry. So the idea that she was going to leave Harry is for the birds, but that doesn't matter because Harry believed it. Harry thought, if I didn't release this statement, that Meghan might leave. And that's what prompted actually a lot of the, I think, early ill will between the mainstream media and Harry and Meghan, because do you remember, Harry forced his press secretary, who didn't want to do it, not Simon Case, Jason Knauf, to release that statement where he accused
Yes.
the media of racism. And this was at a time, Angela, when everyone was embracing and was really excited about Meghan Markle.
Yes. I think it was Vanity Fair that did an interview with Meghan, and she decided she wanted to do this, and she was talking about them being a couple, and they loved each other, and it was all wonderful. And I think that was there to force him to say that they have to, the press are appalling about this and they have to announce it. She pushed that, that he had to marry her now. And so, it happened, but it wasn't that she would wait. I can't imagine anybody who was going to marry a prince, a handsome prince, and would say to them, below you, I'm going to be interviewed by a very good magazine, and I'm going to say what it is, and too bad. That's what she did, really. He was obviously very pleased that she meant it, but actually it was a very crude thing to do. You got the picture. Good. Yes, interesting.
And
Yeah.
this was a completely inappropriate thing
Well,
for
I can't imagine anyone would
no,
dare do it.
no, no.
How dare anyone?
But again, Angela, what really angers me about that is that the narrative that you get constantly from the Sussexes, the victims, is that, oh, the men in grey suits, all of the courtiers were trying to control Meghan, that they didn't want her to do things. No, that's rubbish. Actually, they even allowed her to go on the cover of Vanity Fair and give a completely inappropriate interview because they didn't really want to stop Meghan being Meghan. This is a narrative she created. In fact, the Queen the late Queen Elizabeth II, had even suggested that Meghan should continue her acting career.
Yes. But the other thing that the Queen did, which is very interesting, before they were absolutely engaged, was allowing Meghan to come to the family's Christmas. Now, she had until that moment not allowed anyone who wasn't actually married. You had to be married, not just engaged, because she realized his engagements can fall apart. And she didn't let Camilla go. She didn't let Catherine go, even. The perfect, wonderful, lovely wife, potential wife. But she let Meghan go to the royal family's Christmas to show that how pleased they were that Harry had found somebody. Now, takes some cleverness getting that out of the Queen, I'm sure. But the other thing that a lot of people have said to me that I have no idea if it's true, that she demanded to leave and said otherwise she would kill herself, that she demanded that Harry had to do, that she was, on the floor crying when he came home because she couldn't stand it. She was going to kill herself. I don't know. I have no idea whether it was true or nonsense or anything, but it was a lot of drama. And he was terrified. And so he followed what she wanted.
Of course, he was led to believe that his wife was so unhappy with the situation that she might take her own life. And that is such a terrible thing, Angela, given, and again, I'm going to say it, I think this was all part of Meghan's manipulation because she knew, having read Andrew Morton's book as a teenager, that for Diana, and this is again where we look at the comparisons and why I think that Meghan has purposefully tried to copy Diana's story, because we know that there were cries for help in Diana's life. We know she did throw herself down the stairs, for example, while pregnant. Now, it probably wasn't a real suicide attempt. It was a desperate bid for attention.
Yes, but I think, as well, you've got the excuse, and I don't mean that badly, that if you are pregnant, you can be quite different. You're not quite the same. You can easily cry, you easily can panic. So, but even if you put that in, it was too much. And I think maybe, certainly not with Diana, but maybe with the timing, it was done so that it would look even more overwhelming.
Indeed, indeed. But the thing is, it unfortunately gave this idea to Harry that he almost had a reincarnation of his mother. And the
Yes.
sad thing is, Angela, is that Harry doesn't really know the royal Diana. What he knows is the prism through which Meghan has projected what she wants Diana to be to suit a narrative to get Harry to do what she wants Harry to do. And the person who really knew Diana, William, because Diana treated William as if he was like her best friend. And in fact, at times, Angela, that was highly inappropriate. I mean, William was the one who was brought into all of the conversations about troubles with relationships, be it with Will Carleen or Dodie. And William was also brought into the meetings with the media. So the person who really has an insight into his mother is William, which I think is one of the reasons why William has taken a very different position when it comes to the media than what Harry has. First, though, hot flashes, sleepless nights, weight gain, joint pain. I know a lot of you are dealing with or have dealt with these symptoms, especially the women in the Outspoken family. Obviously, I've not experienced menopause. That would be genetically impossible. And I'm all about the science. But I have heard from so many of you about the challenges that come with it. So today, good news. Many of you will have heard me talk about Verso before. I've been taking their product all throughout last year. It was absolutely transformative for me. But today I want to focus on the amazing women out there, especially those dealing with menopause or perimenopause. This phase of life I know can be tough, but Cellbean by Verso is designed to target those symptoms head on by addressing the root cause. It's formulated with ingredients that are proven to increase NAD+ levels in the body. That's huge because NAD+ is what keeps your cells healthy and energized, but it drops off as we age and especially during menopause. Here's the thing. Boosting NAD+ can make a big difference in how you feel. Women who've taken Cellbean are reporting some pretty amazing changes. Hot flashes disappearing, more energy, joint pain release, weight loss, and mental clarity. I've even heard from some viewers who've told me their periods have come back or have become regulated, and they feel like they've turned back the clock on aging. The ingredients in Celbene have been shown to balance hormones without going the traditional hormone therapy route. It also helps with inflammation and metabolism, which is especially helpful for managing weight and keeping you feeling your best. Plus, these research backed ingredients have been shown to improve bone health, which is crucial for postmenopausal women at risk of osteoporosis. What I love about Celbene, and I think you will too, is that it doesn't just mask the symptoms of menopause, it tackles the root causes of aging, helping you feel stronger, healthier, and more energized from the inside out. If you haven't tried it yet and you're ready to take control of your health and feel more like yourself, click on the link in the description on YouTube and Rumble, or head on over to buy.ver.so/outspoken. Make sure you use the coupon code outspoken at checkout and you will save 15% on your first order. So if you're tired of the sleepless nights, the hot flashes, or just feeling off, give Celbene a try. It's already helped so many of you, and I'm confident it can help even more of you feel better too. So I'll just repeat the address. That's www.buy.ver.so/outspoken. Use the coupon code outspoken. But now, back to the show.
Yes, I agree with you. But the other thing to add to that is that if you have a partner, you want them to do the best for you. But Meghan has gone on and on and on about Diana, making sure she's always there, making sure he's always upset, making sure that he's always doing what she tells him. But when I was with him, he was saying to me that he was managing much better and that he was, going forward. And William, who had suggested that he went to seek help, and he said, I didn't listen to him because who listens to their big brother? But he said then after a while, he thought that actually he was right. So he then went to seek help. But he did that in a very calm, loving way. But I think Meghan keeps it going to keep him unhappy. Not, I can't say unhappy, but to keep him in the mood that she actually wants. And I think that's so she can get what she gets. And I think it's really cruel. I have no real idea whether that's true or not. I have to better say that, but it seems to me that this Diana, who's in the front of their lives, it's not necessary. It's so many years now, and if you can, you have to move on. You can't actually get stuck there and try and think what your mother wants you to do. 25 years after she's passed away, she won't know what you're like, for example. She knows some characteristics, but you wouldn't. But to have it so regimented, I think is terrible. It makes it much harder for him, which is why up to recently he's really needed her.
Totally. I just also want to look at the differences between Princess Diana and Meghan Markle when it comes to causes as well. Because the amazing thing about Diana, Angela, is that she was someone who was completely driven, absolutely driven by her overwhelming desire to help others. And when you look at what Diana did from a charity perspective, it was game changing. She completely changed the discussion forever about HIV/AIDS, in part by her human touch, shaking the hands of those patients at a time when that was considered completely taboo, opening up about her battling eating disorders, specifically bulimia. Absolutely changed the game in the 1990s. Homelessness, something that William is now taking the mantle of, and of course, in her latter years, her campaign against landmines. These were big charitable causes that changed the world, which is what the royal family is meant to be there. Now, Meghan, to me, is someone who's all talk, no action. She talks about the fact that she's some big humanitarian, but I believe, Angela, she's only ever used charitable causes like her connection with the United Nations to further herself. Because what can you actually point to with Meghan. She had this great opportunity to change the world. But what is her cause outside of wokery?
Yeah. Spot on, as they say. Yes, it's all about me, me, me. And I just, I said the other day to you that, she would go and tell children about her own problems, how people have been so awful to her. But she would do that and go on and on and on. She didn't really want to talk about them. And when they did this, what was it, a family, something they got very involved with about parents who lost a child through the social media, and they set this up. And
Oh, yes,
Meghan Harry,
The Parents
apparently,
Network, which
and,
was their
and
big innovation of the year.
they were going to do that. But Meghan talked about herself all the time. It was all about them. You can't actually, and as if she knew what they would be feeling. Well, you can't possibly know what somebody else feels who's lost a child because of social media. You just can't. Oh, you try and help them, not tell them all about you as if that's all they need to feel better. Um, and I think that that's been, you see, Diana looks wonderful, but it's natural. But I think Meghan wants to show how extraordinary she is. I mean, this whole sort of nonsense about global this and that. I mean, she's a global hypocrisy, really. And she just wants to do it to promote herself. I mean, she was,
Absolutely. Because during that interview for the Parents Network, it was as if the parents were just an annoying distraction. She wasn't
yeah,
interested in their stories. And as
yeah.
you say, Diana, when she was around these people, she loved the fact that it took her away from her own problems. It made her realize that actually, okay, fine, she might be having struggles in her marriage and all of that type of thing. But actually, compared to the people who she was trying to help, she realized she had a life of immense privilege. And that's why, to be honest, I find it really distasteful, Angela, Meghan's constant comparisons with Princess Diana, because I don't think they were similar at all. I
No,
do
no,
not
no.
think they were similar at all. Meghan might think she can cosplay Princess Diana, but Princess Diana was a very special woman who had a very special connection with the world.
Yes, and actually, all that gave Diana a feeling that she was doing something that mattered. She really needed that. She really wanted to do something like that. Whereas Meghan, she's sometimes at these charities for 5 or 10 minutes and whizzes off, takes the pictures and then runs. I mean, it's shocking, really. Um, but it's all sort of fabricated. You work it all out, and then you take as much as you can for you. That terrible time when children were murdered in America, and she went and took 3 photographers and knelt
Oh, yeah,
down and
Uvalde.
yeah.
No, a very, very good point. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.